Who do you call?
You know my name.
Who do you call?
That's right,
Who
baby.
do you call?
That's F-I-X-I-T.
Who do you call?
I'm here to help you, brother. You like the business card? I designed it myself. Let's have lunch sometime, huh?
Welcome to the video on horn articulations, and for the purpose of this demonstration I got two horn players, Michael Brown, who we all know and love, on tenor sax, and a trumpet player, James Power. That's so I could demonstrate how the articulation sounds slightly different on different types of instruments, as well as being able to hear the blend of a tenor and trumpet and how those effects sound individually but also together. Okay, so we're going to start with the articulations, and this document down here, or this little part of the screen here, comes directly from your handbook. So the first one we're going to listen to is a fall where we start on a note and we run off. So let's first of all hear it from the tenor sax. And we can really hear the keys of the tenor sax having to create that fall basically by running down a chromatic scale. Let's hear it on trumpet. So you can hear that feels more like a fall. There's less sort of articulation in the notes going down. Let's now listen to that tenor and trumpet in harmony. So the way that I'm doing the harmony is I got the players to play with the concert for us E flat minor pentatonic scale, but both the trumpet and the tenor are B flat instruments, which means if I want to hear a concert E flat, I have to write them a tone above. I have to write the note a tone above for them to play. So they're playing in F minor pentatonic, but we're hearing E flat pentatonic. So now we have a quick fall, which is indicated just with a little scoop down from the tenor. Okay, and again, less ability of the reed instruments to really scoop into notes or bend them or fall off them. Let's have a listen on the trumpet. So we can hear quite a dramatic difference in the fall there. Let's have a listen to them in harmony. And of course, what would happen if you had a horn section is that they would work on their blend, and they would work on how far they fell off and how long they held that note on for. The next effect we're going to listen to is a shake, which is one of my favorite trumpet sounds. You can hear that beautifully in the Earth, Wind and Fire version of Got to Get You Into My Life that was part of the Arranging for Horns video. But here we go. It's a shake from the saxophone. And you can hear from the sax, it's very much like a tremolo. He's actually having to physically play two different notes to get that effect. Whereas on trumpet, we can hear that effect there. But let's have a listen to them in harmony now. Trumpet and tenor. So that's a good effect because it masks those individual notes that the sax is forced to play to get that effect. Okay, the next one we have is a glissando, and a glissando is where we're moving from one determined note up to another note. So defined pitch here, and we're going to run up through them. And how the horn player runs up through them is completely up to them, but depending on the size of the interval. But we don't want it to sound like a scale, so often chromatic kind of movement is really good there. Let's have a listen from the tenor. So that's going from the note F up to A flat in tenor language. Let's have a listen. Let's have a listen now to the trumpet doing the same thing. And again, we get that much smoother type of run from a trumpet than we do from a sax. And here they are together. Great. So the next one, I haven't got a rip, but I do have this one, a doit. So a doit is where we start on a note and they go up again to an indeterminate pitch, so they can end up anywhere they like. I haven't got a great example from the tenor for this. Okay, we can hear that just going up a little bit. We'll hear it much better from the trumpet. Great. Again, a very iconic trumpet type of sound. And together. And this also leads me to, if you're in the studio and producing, music. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the horn players into the studio at the same time, so they couldn't interact and get the vibe off each other. But we can hear that that trumpet note is much longer than the sax note, and we can physically see that note is longer there. That's where the trumpet note is ending. This is where the sax one is ended. So if you're in the studio recording sections, you need to be really aware not only of where notes start, but where they finish, because it sounds a little bit weak, as we'll hear again, that the sax drops out while the trumpet still goes. Okay, the next one we have is a scoop, and a scoop is where you're just edging up into the note. So it's not as big as a glissando. We're just sort of getting into the note from just a note a little bit flatter. So let's hear that from the tenor. Let's hear it from the trumpet. So not as much of a scoop there from that trumpet. Now let's hear the tenor and the trumpet in harmony. Okay. Now we have a bend, and a bend is where we start on a note, indicated with this little almost like smiley mouth there. We start on a note, we go flat, and we come back to the note. From the tenor, from the trumpet, and then in harmony. It's a very cool sound. Now the next one is not indicated here, but it is written about in the text above this section in your book, and it's called a sforzando. To get a sforzando, you would write your note. You only apply sforzandos to lengthened notes, because you'll hear why in a second. And you write SFZ above the note. And what a sforzando does is it starts loud, goes soft, and becomes loud again. So from the tenor, from the trumpet. So again, we don't hear quite as much variation from the trumpet there. Now let's hear them in harmony. Okay. Now, moving along, I'm just going to get a few more files. I'm going to go over to this one here, and this is a flip. And a flip is where we start on a note and we go to another note, but in between we are giving a little bit of ornament or a little bridge in between the notes and actually going up and then down. So let's have a listen. It's a great effect. And a harmony of that. I didn't get this from the sax, so we're just going to hear two trumpets. Very cool. Okay, going back a little bit now, we're going to hear staccato tonguing, so short, sharp tonguing. First of all, from the tenor, from the trumpet, and in harmony. Good. Now we're going to hear a scale, the pentatonic scale, played as staccato. And we'll hear that from trumpet, same. And let's hear that in harmony. And lastly, we'll hear that as legato, so all the notes smoothly running into each other. And for a horn player to achieve this, they don't individually tongue every note, they just run through the keys on the way up the scale. And in harmony. Fantastic. So let's have a listen to all of those together again. And we're going to hear everything in harmony as well. All three horns. Long fall. Quick fall. Shake. Glissando. Doit. Scoop. Another scoop. Bend. Sforzando. Staccato notes as a scale. legato, and finally flips. Great. So there's some good examples of horn articulations. And when you're arranging for horns, you really want, or any type of section strings as well, you really want to determine different articulations, because they're what bring a lot of character into the arrangement and really utilize the full capabilities of the instruments you're writing for. Thanks for listening.
Who do you call?
You know my name.
Who do you call?
That's right,
Who
baby.
do you call?
That's FIXIT.
Who do you call?
I'm here to help you, brother. You like the business card? I designed it myself. Let's have lunch sometime, huh? I know some good people.